to Farming Simulator, and today I want to have another look at the most profitable animals series that I did when FS22 released, and we're having a revisit to pigs. That is because lots has changed with the game. We are on a modded map, obviously. We're on Alien Gym's No Man's Land, which gives us access to cheap plots of big land. We have Alien Gym's Animal Barn Pack installed, which gives us access to cheap high capacity animal sheds, and I have the Farm Supply Pack installed, which gives us access to cheap pig feed. And so we're going to use those. We've got my BGA installed as well, and we're going to see if we can run a profitable farm where we are breeding, raising, and selling pigs. Basically, I'm not going to be doing any arable type farming, so we're not going to be growing any crops. We're buying all of our consumables in. We're just going to see if we can make some money. So I think first things first, we'll get a bit of landscaping done. So I am planning to buy, actually, let's just cover a couple of basics. So I'm on start from scratch, so we don't start with anything but on normal economic difficulty, because I think that's what most people tend to play on, generally what I play on anyway. And we are starting with £500,000, but we've got a £200,000 loan, so we start with the £300,000 that you get on start from scratch. And basically I'm going to keep track of what we spend, what we make, and just see if we end up making some money. I'm probably going to run the farm for 2 years. I think that's what I did on my previous videos. It looks like it was, and we'll see where we end up at the end of the 2 years. The whole video is probably not going to be me doing a real-time talking video, because once we get set up and running, it's going to get quite repetitive. And probably what I'll do is I'll show you how I'm going to run the farm. I'll set the farm up, show you how I'm going to run it, and then we'll jump into my more normal time lapse, and I'll do some talking over the top about how things worked out and whether we made money or not. So let's buy our plot of land, which is going to be plot 56. Because we're really close to the shop, we're really close to the animal buy point, and we are going to be having to do a fair few runs selling animals. And then I'm going to buy myself a chainsaw. We're going to get rid of the trees and the rocks that are on the map, and then I'm going to sell the chainsaw again, because we won't need it again after that. And that just clears up the plot of land that we're buying, because I want to be able to use as much of it as we can, basically. So let's sell that. I do have the free landscaping mod installed, just because I don't think paying for the landscaping that we need to do to make the farm work should be part of the calculations that we do. So I'm just going to get this plot of land cleared off, and I will be back. Okay, so I have leveled this big plot of land and just put some dirt down for our farm. And then when I did this before, I think I was using this bigger sheep or pig sty, which was 164,000 for 270 pigs. We are going to use the Alien Gym ones, which are 30,000 for 270 pigs. And the plan is that I am going to put down 4 of these. I think that will give us capacity for about 1,000 pigs, which means so the plan is that we will we're going to half fill the first one, and then once that's had piglets, we're going to move those pigs into the next one, and so on. And then as the pigs reach maturity and when they get to a good price, we're going to sell them. And I need to go and remind myself what a good price is for pigs. But so we are going to stick down 4 of these pig pens, and I think what I'll do is I'll leave a gap in the middle with the intent that I can put a manure point in between them. think 2 million litres probably plenty because we're going to be doing regular trips to the PGA. It's taken me a few attempts to record this video because I keep making silly mistakes. So, yeah, trying to be a bit more careful this time. And over here, well, let's do the same setup. So, one pig pen. Grab a manure pit. We'll do another pig pen. And so that gives us capacity for over 1,000 pigs. Quite fit. Do a little bit more landscaping to push that back. Just so we can nicely arranged. This is the mistake I kept making. When I go back to the animals tab, it switches and puts me on cows, not pigs. Pig pen we want. Right. Go. Awesome. So that's our 4 pig pens. Got 2 manure pits. Then we want so the other big difference is when I did this before, I was purely selling to the built-in BGA on Elm Creek, using it as a sell point. So we weren't getting a brilliant price for our slurry and manure that we were producing. This time we're going to use a BGA. We're going to use my mini BGA because it's cheap and it's really quick at processing stuff, but mainly because it's cheap. And then we also need to put down somewhere to buy water. This is Cookie Cat's free water points, and so that means that once you've placed it, you don't get charged for putting any more or putting the water in. Trying to find that will do. And I think that's it for our farm. So let's get ourselves up to the store and buy some vehicles. So as I said, we're not going to be doing any farming. We are going to be buying everything in. And I'm hoping that I don't even need to buy a tractor. So we're going to buy ourselves a truck. We're going to go for the AW362 cab over dog. I'm assuming that is a cat engine, I guess. And I'm going to find the wheel setup. It doesn't cost us any extra. There we go. We can go up to 580 horsepower for no extra cost. And I'm going to go for this nice old red car. So it's £31,000 for our truck. And then we need a couple of trailers. In fact, we need 3 trailers. So this first one is the Lizard semi-trailer. We're going to go for the 45,000 litre capacity. Happy with the red colour, so that is £30,000. We've got 82 Studios tanker for our water, £21,000. And then we need a trailer to transport our animals because I don't want to be paying transport costs. And we have the Michieletto AM19 3-floor, which holds 144 pigs, which is perfect because we're going to be moving pigs in batches of 135. £73,000, so it's quite expensive, but I think it's worth it. And we're going to get that in that nice old red colour as well. So I think this is all the vehicles we need. We need to put straw in the pigs, but I am planning to use, along with using the farm supply pack for our pig feed, I'm planning to use it for straw as well, because I think we can get that trailer in the door. That might be the only issue. We might need a tractor and a straw blower, actually, because I'm not sure we can get that big trailer into the... So the straw point is behind the door. And I am not confident that we'll get the trailer through that door. We'll have a look when we go and drop off the pigs. We are going to need to extend the loan a little bit. So I think if we get, so we've got about 100,000 in the bank. So there we go. 250,000 in debt now, and we're going to go for the German land race. So let's buy one batch, then another batch. So I'm buying the 6-month-old pigs because that means in 4 months we will start getting our piglets, which will be where the money starts to come in. And then we want 15 to take us to 135, which will half fill our first pig pen. And that means that then when we get piglets, we'll have space for all of the piglets to be born. We can then move those straight away into the next pen, because the idea is, and this is slightly cheaty, I know this was a comment on the first attempt that I did at this video. The piglets are going to... graze is not the right word. They're going to fend for themselves for the first 5 months. So we're not going to feed them until they are 5 months old. We are then going to start feeding them to get their health up to 100%, so that they can have piglets and produce more pigs. Oh, sorry, pigs. So yeah, that's how we're going to work this, and that's why I've got so many pig pens, because each time we get piglets, they're going to be moved into a pen where they're not being fed. Come on. So we'll only be feeding the breeding pigs. I do need to decide at what point I'm going to sell them. It may be that we end up starting to sell off the older pigs that have had a litter or two of piglets. That may be how I do it. I'm just doing the setup at the moment, and we'll get into deciding how we're going to do that once we get there. So we may as well move the 15, and then we'll do the 2 batches of 60. Kind of weird that it won't just let you select the whole 135 pigs. But there we go. So we need to get them some food. Let's open up that door. I reckon we can get the big trailer in there. So let's move the animal trailer out of the way. And we need to get some straw, some food, and some water. I think now with how Giants have updated the game, we do need straw to get the manure. And that is going to be a big part of our income, I think. I am going to be tracking all of our expenses and all of our income. Truck turns like a cruise ship. Guess that's why it was cheap. Yes, I'm going to be tracking all of our income, all of our expenses, and we'll just see how we're doing. And it's going to be pretty obvious if we're making a lot of money, because our trailer doesn't fit on our truck. No, because we'll be making a profit. Well, that's annoying. We'll do water first, and then we'll get that trailer attached. Because that one's just fine. I'm hoping that the water fill point is quite quick, because this is a pretty big tanker. And eventually we're going to be needing to be watering quite a lot of pigs, I think. So let's get that filling. It's going to take a while by the looks of it, so we can hopefully just drop that off the back. It's going to keep filling, and we'll go and see if we can get this trailer on the back of the lorry. I'm not sure how much pig food they're going to use. So probably buy a trailer full and then see how long it lasts. I'm not actually sure what the capacity is either of the pen for feed. So I put the lumberjack mod on. I did not, but I do have F12. Right. There we go. There we go. See, absolutely fine. So, we can hold 40,000, so that's going to be 8 pallets of pig food. I guess the problem is we don't want to completely fill it because we don't have a silo. Maybe we want a silo. Pig feed. So I think we'll do 3 pallets for now. Because I want to be able to do the straw as well, and we only have 1 trailer, obviously, so we need to be a bit careful about that. So I'm going to get this trailer filled up, and I will be back. No, there we are, all loaded up with 15,000 litres of pig food. And what I've actually realised is because I'm using pallets for everything, I could just put this into flatbed mode, and I could then put the pallets on, bring them over, and just use super strength. So not used to using super strength, but for this, you know, it's not about the doing things realistically. My view is that unless you were just doing this, you'd have a lot of the equipment on your farm already. You'd probably have trailers and tractors and all that kind of thing. You might even be producing straw. So yeah. Okay, so they've got some food. Let's go see if we can grab some straw. And I think we are going to do that switch over and just bring it over in pallet form. Because then I can just do a mixture of straw and pig food and not have to worry. There is a bulk buy point as well, isn't there? But I'm going to keep going. I'm not sure on the price, and I know that the farm supply mod is so cheap for things. Let's minimize that. We go as a bale trailer, and it's not going to cost us anything. And then we can just chuck the pallets on the lorry trailer. Hope you're not here for high quality driving, because you ain't going to get that with me. Definitely not going to get that with me today. This is about generating information, which is kind of what I enjoy playing Farm Sim, but I also enjoy doing this kind of stuff quite a lot. So let's buy some pallets. Straw. I'm not entirely sure if this is cheaper, but it's cheaper because we don't have to buy a tractor and a bale shredder. I think I'm just going to buy one of those just in case. Come on. Roll. Pig feed. 1, 2. And I think that's a lot of pallets. So let me get all those on the trailer and I will be back with one very, very messy load coming back to the farm. But I think 50,000 litres of pig food is going to last us quite a long time. So, break. Oof. Let's try this pallet of straw, see if that idea is going to work, because otherwise we're going to need to sort out some straw blown capability. That doesn't seem to be working. Okay, that's a bit annoying. Let's very neatly unload the trailer, and we're going to try and change the configuration of the trailer back to a tipping trailer. So I will be back in a moment. 5,000 litres of straw in the trailer, and I've tidied up the pallets of pig food just in case it was going to trigger anyone and because it was going to slightly annoy me, if I'm honest. And there we go. So we can do it that way. I think I couldn't get that straw pallet to empty into the trailer by holding it over it either. So I don't know if it's the pallet rather than the trigger. But that is good news. So those pigs they can do with some more straw and some more food. So I will be back. Actually, we can do the food now because we've got all that food that we brought. And that is emptying. Is it going to empty if I just drop it there? Nope. So let's get them fed, and I'll get them some straw and get some water in, and I'll be back. I have another 30,000 litres of straw in the trailer, and I put 6 of those pallets of food into the pigs as well. Just need to give them some water, and then we'll have a quick look at what we've spent. Get ourselves set up with this pig farm. So this should get the straw most of the way full. It holds 45,000 litres of straw. I think that should last quite a while. I'm hoping it's going to last quite a while, and I think actually it might be cheaper if I buy straw direct from the bulk sell point. But so if we have a look, so far we have spent £535,391 on setting ourselves up. So we spent £20,000 on a mixture of pig feed and bedding, and then £85,000 for the land, £20,000 on the pig pens and the BGA and those manure pits and the water point, 70,000 on pigs, and then we spent 159-ish thousand on vehicles. We got the £500 back for selling the chainsaw. So let's go grab the water trailer, and then I'm going to skip some time ahead to make sure that we're getting manure and slurry, I guess. The slurry trigger is next to where we drop the animals off. And then it's just going to be a case of progressing time till we get animals, and then rotating them through until we get to the point where we decide to sell them. And be putting the manure and slurry through the BGA as we get it, and that's going to obviously give us a regular income. And I suspect that we might do quite well. I think this is going to show that there is a way to make money from pigs. And a lot of it, I think, is the access to cheaper pig food, significantly cheaper pig food, and having access to a BGA to then sell the products that we get. Because the manure and the slurry are a key product from the pigs. That lump is going to be a bit annoying in front of the manure pit. I'm just wondering if, although they're empty, whether it will let us go around and put water in each of these just to empty this trailer out. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back with you later on. Maybe time-lapse me, I'm not sure. So skipped ahead to September. I say so an awful lot, don't I? Anyway, animals are now at 100%. They have used 9,000 litres of food and only about 3,000 litres of straw. We have nearly 9,000 litres of slurry already. And we have nearly 5,000 litres of manure. And we had a few extra costs overnight. So we had £800 in loan interest and 500 in property maintenance. Now I could have delayed placing the other 3 pens and not had some of those costs. And in fact, I'm going to reduce the loan down to the minimum that I can, because that will reduce our interest payments. But we are good for pig food for a while. We are good for straw. They're good for water. So I think probably I'm going to skip ahead. How are they looking for reproduction? So they're 25% through their reproduction. So I think I'm going to skip ahead couple of months, and I'll see you then, and we'll probably start putting some stuff through the BGA. I have skipped ahead 2 months, so we're in November now. The pigs have eaten just over half of the food that we gave them. They've used about 15,000 litres of straw, but for that they have produced 26,000 litres of slurry and 14,000 litres of manure. So, and we are 75% of the way through their reproductive cycle. So next month we should get piglets. But what I want to do now is get this slurry and manure into the BGA. That will bring us some cash in. We've obviously had some more expenses, and I'll do a proper summary of the expenses at the end when we do the analysis. But we've had £800 of loan interest and another 560, 70 odd pounds of building maintenance fees. The building maintenance fees go up every month. I'm assuming that is as the buildings get older, they cost a bit more to maintain. I'm not sure. But anyway, we are going to start making some cash. Let's drop the slurry off. And we can start that processing. If you are not familiar with my mini BGA, it processes incredibly quickly. We'll set that to selling on everything, because we don't need any of those products at all. And we'll go and grab the other trailer, which is going to be a bit of a pain to attach. If you remember a few moments ago when I had to lift it on. Do that. Not ideal, but and we'll just see how, hoping if I used a bit of enthusiasm, that would bump up on to the back of the 5th wheel. But it did not. So yeah, we'll see how much money we're going to make off this BGA processing. It will sell everything on the hour, and I'm pretty sure it will have processed everything by then. There's no point keeping the digestate. We have no use for it. They won't get paid very much for it, but everything helps. Right, just back this trailer up into the trigger. This is going to work. This is one of my favorite features of FS22, that if you want to be lazy, you can just fill manure like that. And obviously, as we get more pigs, we will get more manure, particularly as we have more batches breeding. I don't know if we have enough enclosures to support multiple breeding batches, but we'll see. So let's turn on the manure as well, not silage, manure. And we'll just let those process. They should run through everything fairly quickly. Need to set myself up a slightly neater parking for all of these trailers. This is actually quite a nice truck. Quite impressed. And it's off of Mod Hub, so it should be decent, but sometimes when you buy the older stuff, it's a little bit, you know. Yeah, I'm impressed. And the 82 Studio stuff is always good, so I had no doubts about the tanker. I've used that the trailer is from Beppe, whatever number he has at the end of his name. I've used that in FS19 before, and it is a nice trailer. Not used that animal trailer before, I don't think, but again, it's a nice trailer, so don't need that now. So we can just let this process and sell, and we'll see how much we're going to get for a couple of months worth of outputs. And then I think it'll just be me getting into time lapsing and making progress through the farming. Right. About £5 for that first batch is still processing. That's the manure done, so the slurry should process quicker now. There we go. So let's turn those off, and we'll just let the time click past the hour. There we go. So that has made us £21,000 for the first 2 months worth of outputs. That's pretty nice, and we can actually, because we're okay for food, think we're going to knock 10,000 more off the loan. And yeah, I'm just going to get into the cycle now of when we get the piglets next month, we'll move those into the pen next door. Right, let's do that now. Just so I can show you that, and we're not going to feed them. So because this is a PG-13 or PEGI-13 game, animals are not allowed to die. So there's obviously enough food in the ground, in the pasture, to keep them healthy. So if we have a look now, we have 270 pigs. We're going to need to get some more food. We're good for straw and water. But we have got through that food quite quickly. But let's grab the animal trailer. And we've already got 10,000 litres of slurry to get rid of. Let's open that gate up. Pick up the animal trailer, and that means I can park that slightly nicer once we have done that. And then I'll get some pig food off camera, and I'll just cycle through the process for a couple of game years, and we'll see how we end up. Will we be rich? Will bacon make us rich? I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going. I can't do contracts on here because it's no man's land, so there are no contracts. I'm not going to put in any other greenhouses or anything. We are just going to cycle through this, and from my point of view, it's quite nice because it's quite quick then to get through the days. You can see we've already done already on our first batch of piglets. So if I was better at reversing trailers, it would be even quicker, and I suspect I will get better doing this. So we want the youngest ones, and we want to move those to the trailer. And this will just reduce the amount of pig food that we need to feed them. You will obviously see that they have eaten, the 135 pigs in there have eaten a lot of food. And that was the problem. Eek! There's a trailer there. That was the problem when I was doing this before. I was still buying the pig food. I was buying Giant's pig food, which is significantly more expensive. But even if you were growing the crops, I did the kind of analysis afterwards, and even growing the crops, it just was not economically sensible to raise pigs. You were much better off. You were going to grow the crops to sell them, and I think obviously doing it this way, and I think it's kind of the Mr. CDP's been saying on his Western Wild, and he's been making pig food and selling it and then buying the farm supply pig food because it's so much cheaper. He did the whole premium. We're selling our premium pig food and we're buying economy pig food, but it's just the farm supply pack is so good. Or cheaty, you choose. I say good because it opens up being able to do things with pigs and make money. And how I play, it's important to me. I know not everyone cares about whether they make money from everything on their farm, but it's generally how I play, so it's what I'm interested in. Let's let the game save, and I want to close up the door. Do a slightly neat job of trying to park the trailer. And that's it, really. So these guys will just exist for 4 more months. Once they reach 5 months old, we will feed them, we will put straw in, we'll make sure they've got water, and then they will start the piglet production cycle. Obviously, in 5 months, we will have another batch of piglets out of here. They will go into one of these two, and we'll repeat. And probably, I think, we'll sell these older pigs at that point, because they're now worth more than we paid for them. So we can get all of the money back that we invested in the pigs, and everything beyond that will be profit. So yeah. Let's begin the cycle. I'll record some of it, and I'll probably be back at the end, and we'll have a chat through what we've learned. So it's now 2 years later. It is August 2 years later. And I guess the headline answer is you will see if you look in the top right-hand corner, we have made a reasonably large amount of money. So we don't have a loan anymore, just to show you. Don't have a loan anymore. We have recovered the initial £300,000 that we spent, and we're about £100,000 up on that over the 2 years. So that was all of the initial investment in building the farm, building the BGA, buying the vehicles that we needed, and buying all of the starter animals, and then all of our running costs and things. We have made what I think is a pretty decent amount of money, particularly compared to what happened when I did this last time. So up on the screen now, you should see a graph which compares the first time I did this using all giant stuff to now how I have done it using all modded stuff. So the orange line is our first attempt, and basically we were always struggling to even break even. So we started out with about £160,000 debt on top of our starting £300,000, and we never recovered from that position. We ended up at about £160,000 in debt still. So we never really made any money, and that is mostly down to the cost of the pig food. Whereas with the blue line, we started with a bit more debt. We had more animals, and I brought some slightly different starting equipment, but we had to double the number of pigs. More than double. We started with 60 the first time, and I started with 135 this time. And then you can see that in September, we sold off the original pigs that we brought. We got to the point where we had bred so many pigs that we needed to sell those original pigs off to have space in the pens. The pens weren't always full, but I was only using the first 2 pens that I filled up to do breeding with and feeding, and the other 2 were used for growing. And so yeah, I sold off that first batch for quite a lot. I think we made about £70,000 profit on what we paid for them. And then you can see just occasionally we would sell some pigs and nudge up a bit. We'd have to buy some pig food. And then we had a couple of big hits here where we in about March, where we sold quite a lot of pigs. I got to a point where I had to sell 3 batches of mature pigs to keep space, to keep breeding. So that gave us that big spike there, and then you can see we were just consistently making money. So there was a little bit of time where, the first year we were making money, we just weren't making big money, and then by about a year and a half, we suddenly started to make quite consistent, decent amounts of money. You might say that's because I had a lot more pigs. I had double the number of pigs. Not really the case. So the graph that's on the screen now is the cost of just buying the animals and the food, and then the income from selling animals and their products. So I removed the cost of setting up the farms, and then this is done per animal. So it ignores the fact that I had a lot, double the number of pigs on the second one. And you can see, as I said with the first line, the orange one was my first attempt, and we really just didn't make money. We would make a bit of money, we would spend money because we would have to buy pig food, and the pig food is so expensive from Giants. Versus the blue line, where you can see again, that September point, we ignoring the cost of setting up the farm, we then broke even, and we just started to make lots of money. So yeah, going with this approach where we used the modded pig pens helped, but I think mainly it was the pig food and the BGA. We spent significantly less on pig food. I'm just quickly adding up the numbers. So on this one, we spent about 99,000 on pig food for our 135 pigs. On the first attempt I did this, I spent 168,000 for 60 pigs. So that gives you an idea of the difference. We spent almost double or less than half the pigs. And then on top of that, we made quite a bit more on our manure sales. So for the my first attempt with 60 pigs, we made 19,000 selling the manure and the slurry. On this one, I in the same period of time, I made 260,000. So if we half that, about 130,000. So again, a lot. We made a lot more from making use of a BGA, and we spent a lot less using the pig food from the farm supply pack. And I believe when I did the first one, I didn't even have to pay to put straw in because it was when straw was broken. I ended up buying straw from the bulk point on this map, but the cost wouldn't have been. The cost was about half, but that wasn't a significant. We'd have spent maybe 10 grand more, I think, something like that, 20 grand more. We'd have still been well up on making money. I think this scales as well. So you might not make if you the big advantage for this was I was never feeding piglets. I was only feeding animals that were reproductive. But you could scale this. So if you had one of these pens and you put in, say, 40 or 50 pigs, and then always sold the oldest ones when you needed to make space for the next batch of piglets, you'd still be making decent money, I think. You'd spend a little bit more on food, but you'd also be getting more manure and slurry out because my growing pens, so my ones where I wasn't getting any manure or slurry out of them. So I wasn't getting anything back out of them, but I wasn't putting anything in. So, and the kind of feed cost to the output ratio is actually pretty good. So I spent, as I said, spent about 98,000 on food, but sold £260,000 worth of manure and slurry. So actually, you might make more if you you do feed those piglets. And if there's interest, I'm kind of tempted to try and do a single pen version of this and just see how that works out. So just I don't know if there are any bigger pig pens. I think Cookie Cat has one that holds 300 and something. So if you're interested in seeing that, drop a comment below. Because I realize this is slightly artificial. You might not have enough space to dedicate this many pens, but again, you could scale it and have one breeding enclosure and one growing enclosure, and do it so that you start off with about half the capacity of pigs in the breeding one. So in this case, you would start with about 60 breeding pigs, and then keep 2 sets of 60 breeding in the breeding enclosure, and then anything that's growing in the growing enclosure. And then as pigs in the growing pen get to 83% puberty, is the right word. I then moved them into one of the feeding pens because that meant the next month they would go into the reproductive state, and it takes about 10 hours to get from 0% health to 100% health. So basically, I would give them a day to get their health up, and that would then instantly stick them into being in the breeding state rather than in the puberty state. That's pretty much it. As I said, I'm sort of tempted to try and do this in a single enclosure, just to confirm it works. And if people are interested, stick a comment below if you found this useful or interesting. And it's a bit longer than some of the other ones I've done. Then click the like button. Again, leave me a comment. If you're not, subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you could be like these people and either join the Patreon page or become a YouTube channel member. That helps out. If you join the Patreon, you get an exclusive Let's Play series and you get input into some of the creative stuff. If you join the YouTube channel, and in fact, if you're on Patreon as well, you get to appear in my Let's Play series as either landowners or workers, and you get the channel supporter role on my Discord. That's enough advertising, I think. Oh, there's merch below as well, if you fancy that. Or if you want to buy me a coffee, there's a link for that as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and I will catch you next time.